about Rick Perry and that bullshit about him turning himself in and might have 2 felonies?
Oh, of course. Like, of course they'd indicted him on a Friday afternoon so nobody fucking noticed.
Yeah, exactly. But, I don't know, this whole thing sounds like it's just an absolute fuck-up from the beginning to the end so far. And this is just, it's like, this is what we would normally do if we were talking about, like, stupid shit happening in Florida. We might have to actually change that whole thing since we haven't done it in a while.
Yeah.
To stupid politicians from Texas.
Or just stupid politicians.
Yeah, we could probably stop there, but Texas seems to have some pretty good ones. I guess you could probably say New Mexico outweighs Texas and shit like that, but I digress anyway. So, for those of you who haven't heard what happened, in the whole grand scheme of things, if I'm not mistaken on this, the DA ended up getting a DUI.
Ooh.
Yes.
From her OBGYN.
said she was sparkling clean.
Sorry.
Okay, so the district attorney
got a driving
under the influence charge.
From her obstetricist. I'm done. Sorry, I fucked that up. I don't even know what that stands for.
Optometrist?
OBGYN.
Oh, that's a gynecologist.
Is it like optometrist?
I have no idea what that is. Anyway, getting off.
God, we are just terrible.
Well, Perry is a pussy, so we're
Ah!
going to get into it. But apparently the DA got a DUI. He called for the DA to resign. She wouldn't resign, so he cut $7.5 million in funding to her office, which directly correlated with how many public defenders they could have. Like, this rippled down the whole line.
Yeah.
And he's saying that it has to do with, well, I didn't believe she was capable to take office and keep it because of the DUI that she had, so I cut the funding. I vetoed the funding for it because if I can't trust her...
Starve the beast.
Yeah, exactly.
Reaganomics.
Exactly. If I can't trust the DA, then I'm just going to make everybody suffer.
Yeah.
Because now court cases are going to back up even more and, you know, all that shit.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
I'm not saying that $7.5 million is too many, because what's a public defender probably make? $60,000, $70,000 a year at the lowest of the lows, I would guess?
Yeah, that'd be lowest of the lows.
So if you're going to say $7.5 million, really how many public defenders does that cut? I mean, You're cutting like a dozen jobs throughout the state. Anyway. What the fuck is that kind of bullshit, though, of him saying that he couldn't trust her, so he had to cut the funding? Yes, it is his right to veto it, but to use that as your excuse, they're fucking right to pull him up on abuse of power charges. That right there does not give him the right to say, well, I don't find that she's qualified to do this. You know what? The voters of Texas qualified her to become the DA, not the governor.
But they did elect the governor to be the final saying power in anything.
Laws and shit that happen I mean, not the DA. If the DA needs to get replaced, the people will stand.
Hey, but in his defense, she was caught in a church parking lot 3 times over the legal limit with an open bottle of vodka.
Maybe she was praying for somebody.
Yeah, a little bit of the sacrament.
I'm just saying. She was in a church parking lot.
Hey, if I knew...
God makes me depressed, too.
I don't know, but I'm not trying to take the guy's side at all, because I do not like him one bit, but just for the sake of argument, just to, further dialogue, I say, if you, being a Christian, like he is, if you see somebody who is a danger to themselves and the state, and they will not be removed via normal procedures, then God damn it, it is your right as a Christian and as a Texan to cut their funding.
All right. So I got a scenario for you. So, say we have a person of questionable intelligence that is in a very high position of power.
So everybody in position of high power?
Whoa.
Oh.
I'm just using this as a hypothetical, man. Oh. Stay with me here.
It sounds a little too much like real life.
I'm on the 5-yard. You're still in the end zone. Let's keep going. All right. So, questionable intelligence, high position of power.
Okay.
And then you have this same person trying to do something like getting a higher position of power. Let's just put it, that's a good way of marking it. That's their ambition, their goal.
They're looking for a promotion.
Yes.
Okay.
And let's just say this person is supposed to be, the position that they're vying for at this time is supposed to be one of extreme pressure. Supposed to be one that you're, evidently supposed to be intelligent, so that you can articulate well, because you have to have international affairs going on. Now let's say the same person that we're talking about here gets asked a question like, how would you fix this problem? And the person that we're talking about says something like, 3 things. I'd get rid of this, I'd get rid of this, and... I can't really remember the third. So you're going to tell me that person right there, who is supposedly, actually rehearsed this, gone through this, knows this like the back of his hand, because this is supposed to be his whole fucking platform, his whole job, his whole, this is what he's going for. I know this job, that's why you should hire me, because I can do this better than anybody else. Here's the reasons why. A, B, I only got A and B. That's what he says to you. And then later on says, well, I did have a third point, but I was highly medicated at the time, and I had a lot of painkillers running through me, and kind of threw me for a loop. Is that the kind of person that you would think would be competent to do the job that they had? Because I am speaking directly to Rick Perry. Exactly. So if you're going to say that you're going to cut funding for the reasons that somebody got a DUI, yes, humans are weak. In a moment of weakness, you can do something extremely stupid. Who knows what the DA was going through at that time? Might have gotten in a fight with their significant other, might have broke up with somebody might have died in their family. They don't say anything about that. They just say, got a DUI, he asked for them to resign, they said, no, I can still do my job.
And he said, well, then you get no money.
Exactly. So in that instance, and he's saying, she's derelict of duty, she does not know her job, she shouldn't be there, how are you going to sit there and rule that, stating that is your opinion, when you yourself are derelict of your duty, don't know your job? I mean, what the fuck, man?
Exactly.
How the fucking stupid is this guy and the people of Texas?
Very.
I just have to ask that question. You elected this guy governor, and if I'm not mistaken, he's been governor longer than anyone in history of Texas. A guy who can't say 3 fucking points.
He wears glasses. That makes him smart.
You ask my 11-year-old nephew... Oh, I'm sorry, he's 12 now. You ask my 12-year-old nephew, give me 3 points about this, and just pick a topic off the top of your fucking head. And my 12-year-old nephew is smart enough to be able to pick 3 points out of whatever it is. Like, he would probably just go, well, it's blue, it's bigger than I am, and it smells funny. He'd be able to do that. Just pick 3 points out.
Snuffleupagus' balls?
Yes. Oh. But... you got a fucking governor who can't list 3 points off the top of his head when he was asked, what would you change about our government today?
Or what 3...
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
There's not 3 things on the top of your head that you can't go, this is fucked up, this is fucked up, this is fucked up. I know you said 3, but can I keep going?
Yeah.
You can't pick 3? And then you're going to use the excuse that you can't trust her to do her job, like... fuck you, Rick Perry. I wish you were face to face with me right now so I could spit on you. And you know how disgusting I find that, so that means a lot when I say I want to spit on somebody. I want to ask him a question, and when he opens his mouth, spit in his mouth.
Yeah. I can't wait till his mugshot. I just wish they would do what they do with regular criminals to politicians and white-collar criminals. Break down their door in the middle of the night and drag him in. Not wait till the next Tuesday for them to come in.
We seem to have a little bit of a problem.
Yeah.
Just messenger. But, apparently some judge thinks, and I don't know who this guy is, but he thinks you may have done something wrong and signed this piece of paper. Long story short, he wants to talk to you. So if you could come in and talk to him within, the next week or so.
That'd be wonderful.
We'd really appreciate that. If you gotta go out of town, we can reschedule. Yeah. Like, that's how they treat white collars and
what pisses me off is it ruins it for the American people to not have the great mugshot.
Yeah.
Because he's going to walk in there dressed...
I want that fucking Nick Nolte mugshot where his hair's all on one side.
But he's going to walk in there dressed to the nines. Yeah. He'll have the politician...
He'll have the only fucking prison jumpsuit that's got a tie.
Yeah, he's not going to prison.
No, he's not. But to be fair, if he's going to jail, and he won't even go to jail, they'll put him in a little private cell, and then they'll basically run his ATM card and say you post bail.
Exactly. Because that's the sad thing, is he's going to have his...
fucking prints done, his picture taken, and he's back in his limo in 15 minutes.
Yeah, and that's what's going to suck, is the mugshot's not going to be worth a goddamn thing. Because it'll look
He'll
like...
probably be smiling in it.
It'll look like a campaign photo.
Yeah.
I guarantee it will. He'll be smiling with a suit.
Somehow or another, they got a fucking baby in that jail for him to kiss.
They're not even going to make him hold the placard, I bet, to make it look like a mugshot. I guarantee you.
No, it's all a fucking joke when it comes down to it. I just had to talk about
this
first because that is absolutely hilarious to me. I read that story and I got so pissed off that I had to just fucking... I know it's hard to start on a rant like that.
Yeah.
Now we have no listeners at all. But like we had so many before.
Well, let's bring this further down the rabbit hole. Do you think this is going to hurt his chances for the Republican nomination for president?
I don't think he had a chance.
You don't think he had a chance whatsoever? Not even with his new eyewear and everything that he busted out?
Not with his clear glasses and everything. Because do you know why he's wearing those?
No.
His campaign manager actually put out a poll that with two pictures of him, one with wearing glasses, and they photocopied the glasses because he doesn't even need glasses, is what I read. But they photocopied him with glasses on one picture, and it was the same exact picture, but the other one was the real picture that he didn't have glasses.
Yeah.
And they asked, which guy would you trust more? And everybody that had it apparently picked, well, the majority, vast majority, I should say, not everybody, but the vast majority of the people that were interviewed on this one pointed to the one with the the glasses. So he's wearing no prescription glasses because his campaign manager told him, people say that you look smarter with this.
And how could you trust a guy like that? That's what I just don't understand.
I don't know.
How could you be like, oh, this is a guy that's true to his faith and his... He used to be a fucking Democrat.
Yep. Used to be a Democrat, switched to a Republican when they told him that they could make him a governor.
Well, because it's easier to win as a Republican.
Yep.
Because there's only a handful of fucking assholes that'll do it.
Look at it this way, though. He did switch Republican. Because being a Democrat, if you looked at his record beforehand, he was a little on the liberal side. I'm not going to say that he was a fucking Hollywood star or anything. I'm just saying. He was a little on the liberal side. I mean, he was one of the guys that... I never heard him say it, but he was in the same campaign running as saying the people that were talking about getting rid of the death penalty. And in Texas, that's huge. But then when they were like, no, dude, you got the look. And you got, the swagger that we need in this state.
Well, you would...
Because all you need is to wear a fucking pair of boots and have a certain look and then walk a certain way. Like fucking John Wayne.
Yeah.
And you got Texas.
Oh, and that's the sad thing.
Howdy, y'all.
And 90% of fucking Republicans started as Democrats.
Yeah.
The big rock star Republicans, it's because it's easy in the Republican Party. You have people in lockstep. You don't have to have a bunch of different little factions to try to group together to vote for you.
Oh, yeah. The Tea Party was the first time that you ever saw the Republicans divided, and that was hilarious because that was just the crazies of the Republican Party. So I think the Republican Party was more or less going, "Woo, at least they're crazier than us now."
Yeah.
I do have to say this one. Does it have anything to do with the old saying of how, if you're young and you're not a Democrat, you don't have a heart? And if you're old and not a Republican, you don't have a bank account?
I don't agree with that at all. Because you'd have to... Because if you're a Republican, unless you have the bank account, not just a bank account, but the bank account of the world, like, I'm the richest fucker, you're voting against your best interests.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Day.
And when you say a bank account nowadays, you mean somebody who has money. Because people, I understand what you're saying of a bank account just meaning a bank account. Everybody's got a fucking bank account, otherwise you can't cash a check.
Yeah, exactly.
What I'm saying, a bank account of note is what I mean.
If you're not in the top 1%, you have no right voting for a Republican.
I wouldn't say that. I would say if you make $500,000 a year or more.
Ooh, that's the best. That's the ones they love the most.
But that's what I'm saying.
Those are the juicy ones they rate.
Those are the guys that are just on the bottom echelon.
Those are the guys that are so stupid to think that they're rich, that they're going to vote for Republicans.
Yes! That's what I was about to say.
Yeah.
They're on the bottom of the echelon where they're the ones that are just getting their beaks wet in what wealth is.
Yeah.
So it's proven. The people that make around $500,000 to $1 million a year in a setting like family or just person, those are the people that are most in debt. And it's funny to think about it because when you look at the national debt average, I think this year they came out with saying that the average American has about $7,300 of credit card debt. That's per person in the United States. The reason that debt is so high is because of those people that are $500,000 to $1 million. Because they're just in the I'm rich type area, but not rich enough to flaunt the rich. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. Because
after you buy $1 million house and then 5 cars, you're fucking leveraged to the hill.
Yeah, exactly. Because they're richer than the guy down the street, but they're not as rich
as the guy down this side of the street.
Up the hill.
Yeah. And they want to be on this side.
Well,
they want to keep going to the right of the street, and they don't want to go to the left.
The problem is it's based on your friends circle. Because you're this rich, you're not going to be friends with somebody that you used to be friends with that only makes $100,000 because you can't go on the same vacations, you can't go to the same restaurants because they're worried about budgeting, they're worried about finances. But then on the flip side, when you try to move up to the next class, you're the stupid son of a bitch.
You're not.
You're the one trying to keep up.
The way I like to equate this is it's like living on a hill, and if you look at it on, I would say that 80% of us basically live on the bottom quarter of the hill. And that's anything from...
Or are you talking about the Illuminati pyramid?
No.
With the all-seeing eye?
Not at all.
It's kind of like a hill.
Shut up. At the bottom of the hill, you got everything from poverty to the middle class. You know what I mean? And then when you're talking about... from the quarter part, I would say up to about a half of the hill... That's where you have the middle upper. Those are the people that are, they're making $100,000 to $500,000 family-wise per year.
Yeah.
Those would be the middle upper. Those are the people that aren't trying to live beyond their means because they understand, I'm still not rich as fuck. I'm only making $100K a year. I'm happy because I'm making $100K a year, but it's $100K a year. I mean, it's not like... That's yacht buying money.
Yeah, that ain't what we refer to as fuck you kind of money.
Yeah, exactly. That's walking around kind of money.
Yeah, I want fuck you money.
So, I would say up until about 50%. That's that point.
Yeah.
That's where you got everybody saying, all right, this is what we make. We're comfortable or we're in poverty. But we got a quarter and then up to 50. Then... you have the 20% of this fucking country that owns the top 50% of the hill. Because you got the top 1% that pretty much owns, let's say, 40% of it. And then you got everybody we're talking about right now that's in between in that other 10%. And that other 10% looks just down the hill a couple of houses and goes, fuck that. Looks up the hill a couple of houses and goes, not even there. I want the top. And those are the people that will never understand, and I find it funny, those are the people that file bankruptcy the most.
Yeah.
Those are people that have the highest debt.
Yeah.
It's just, once you get to that $500,000 to $1 million mark, it seems like all of a sudden everybody goes, well, you can't hang out with me because you make too much.
Yeah.
And then everybody they try to hang out with is making $10 million a year. And they can't hang with that at all.
Well, that's the key, is what you need to do is have some goddamn humility and be a rational person and just not flaunt your wealth. Have $500 million in the bank, but make everybody think you make $30,000.
The one thing
that's how you prevent getting robbed or murdered.
My favorite Minnesota Viking, and I'm not a football guy anymore, but my favorite Minnesota Viking of all time has to be John Randle. And the only reason that I really like him as much as I do, not being a football fan at all, A, he was a beast.
He dressed like Batman.
Yeah. B, he didn't want to leave Minnesota ever. We made him leave, and he still went to Seattle and went, fuck you, I'm still doing this. Even though everybody said here he was a washed-up player. I still thought he was a good player, but anyway, digress. And I can't remember C. But... I'm sorry, I'm going to keep doing that for a while now. Fuck you! Yep. No, but I saw an interview that he was in once where they asked him why he lived in the suburbs. Like, he had normal neighbors like you and I. Like, seriously, my house is something that he would have lived next to. He lived in a $110,000, $120,000 house. He drove a fucking Ford Explorer. You had rookies coming in that just got signed.
With Maseratis.
Yeah, with a fucking $120,000 car, and he comes in a fucking Ford Explorer, the plain edition.
Yeah, not even power locks.
Like, it had the fucking crank down windows and shit.
Yeah, because this is circa like 95, so
and
everything wasn't power down.
They actually did that, where they interviewed him in the parking lot as he was coming out of a practice, and they were like, well... Why do you drive a Ford Explorer?
He's a vet. He's secure.
He actually said it. He goes, when I grew up, I was poorer than poor. I was dirt broke. We lived in a place that was 3 rooms. I'm never going to have my kids go back there again. So I just went, you just literally... made me believe that not all of these assholes are absolutely fucking worthless human beings.
Yeah.
Because the majority of these cocksuckers, you can catch a ball. Why does that make you better than anybody else?
Yeah.
And I don't understand why these idiots idolize people like that. I mean, hockey players, yes, they are to be immortalized.
But the football players is completely easy to understand. When you grow up a kid...
They had nothing.
And when you grow up being told you're... the best.
Yeah.
You're everything.
Yep.
Nobody's better than you. From fucking Jump Street, dude. Since you're in Pop Warner football till today. Yep. How aren't you going to think you are?
But I will say, it's a culture as well.
Yeah.
Because it's not just those people.
Well, it's a culture.
The guys that get picked up, they didn't get drafted.
Yeah. And
they come into a training camp and get picked up and do an awesome job. Dude, you just did the Michael Jordan. Really, you just did. And he's the only one that you hear about doing that, but there are thousands of professional athletes that have done that. They went to college, average player.
Kurt Warner is another one.
I mean, you went to college, average player.
Arena football.
Then you went, a semi-pro, or, you did something like that, and to pass the time, and you tried out for a team.
Yeah.
And for some reason, one of the coaches had a hard-on for you. And he just goes, we gotta give that guy a shot.
Yep.
And you end up fucking rocking the nation. Seattle Seahawks had a corner that was cornerback. I heard he did that. He had the most picks last year, or something like that. And he was a walk-on.
Wow, that's incredible.
He wasn't a walk-on last year. But, he had the most picks last year.
Well, he basically was an undrafted... rookie and
no, not last year though. He had a contract with him, but I mean he's progressing so much now that he's got those fucking Predator dreadlocks.
Oh, is that Sherman?
Yes,
that got all crazy and then NFC. I can't even
talk. Yeah, NFC champ.
Yeah,
I thought that was hilarious though. I was looking at it going, really, in one interview, 20 seconds of that guy's life, and on ESPN they're going, oh, he's a thug. Are you fucking kidding me?
I remember talking about that on this podcast when it happened, and my whole gripe was you have zero respect and you're unprofessional. Yeah. That's what I don't like about it. You're a professional athlete, and I'm emphasizing professional. And
I still have no idea what that was all about.
He was just trash talking. He was hyped. He was all pumped.
But it's legit. I'm just saying,
there's
either got to be something else involved, like the other dude had to do something.
Oh yeah, the other guy was John shit.
Yeah, or dude's just a douchebag.
I don't think he's a douchebag per se. I think he was all hyped up, and then he's also like a PR major, so he that one thing increased his brand 100-fold. If you want to look at him as a brand, what he did in acting completely unprofessional.
Love him or hate him, you were talking about him.
Exactly. 100%.
Why do you think Donald Trump is still so fucking popular?
Yeah.
Because he doesn't let anything die. He calls
Fox and
the
Friends.
goddamn newscast and be like, hey, I'm Donald Trump, I want to talk.
He must have Fox and Friends as #1 speed dial.
Yeah.
Every morning. How can I weigh in on this in the most ignorant way possible?
But he won't let his image die. So love him or hate him, everybody's talking about him. And that's why he's got his fucking name on everything he makes.
That is true. He's just an egotistical prick. And that's the sad thing.
That's who makes it.
It is. Sociopaths. Because real humans...
Unfortunately, I care about other people more than I care about myself for the most part.
And that's why people like you and me will never be rich. Is because I don't care who the fuck you are, and I don't care whatever anomaly you can find to throw in my face. This is a hard and fast rule. If you are going to make it to the top, you have to be a sociopath. There is no way you can fuck everybody else. You have to. Even if it's not vicious or if it's unintentional, it has to.
Or if you didn't even know it happened.
Yeah, you did. You did.
There's no way that you can make that kind of money, that you can do those kind of moves without breaking tons of dreams.
And the way I truly...
dreams, hopes, realities, whatevers.
And the only reason I truly believe that is because I believe in the free market.
Because it's true.
Yeah, and I believe in the free market aspect of having presidents and CEOs of companies. There is only X amount of sociopaths that are functioning enough to run a company. Hence why you have to pay them so much.
I don't believe that a CEO is even necessary in a company at all.
Well, you need the figurehead for the board to make the decision and then have the guy take all the blame. You need that buffer, that boilerplate. That's why he's there.
For the majority
of the guy to take the indictment.
For the majority of time, they get paid extremely well, and they get perks up the ass to be a scapegoat if something happens.
And most CEOs
the thing I just don't understand is a CEO that even gets fired can bounce and bounce and bounce.
Well, that's the thing. Is that's a part of the trade. A CEO is lucky to be a CEO for 10 fucking years before they get ousted. It's like being a coach.
They don't get ousted anymore, Jake. You're thinking of...
Yeah, they resign.
Yeah, no. They don't even resign. They just... Well, unfortunately, I'm going to have to go to the next place. Because before I want you guys to fire me, I want that on my resume that, well, I worked there for 2 years.
Exactly.
So you fucking... I've seen more than 2 CEOs in the time that I've worked at the company I work for.
Yeah.
I'm going on 6 years, and we had 3 CEOs in my time frame. And it's not because they got fired, it's not anything else. They just bounce from one place to the next.
Exactly.
And
you hang on.
And they do nothing.
Exactly. You hang on as long as you can until people start realizing the illusion that you don't know anything. And then you fucking move on to somebody else who is none the wiser.
You know, the only thing that the CEO that we currently have at the place I work did at all... completely different from the last CEOs. All employee meetings.
Ooh.
Yep. So people call in on their phones and listen to a meeting from people that they'll never see. Don't have a chance to ask any questions.
Oh, so you can't even ask questions?
Well, the phones are on mute. Otherwise, you have 400 people on the phones. You have, 400 people doing...
and typing.
So you have 400 people that are doing that kind of shit. You're not going to hear anything. So everybody on the phones is on mute. He's doing it to the board of directors.
So it's basically like a town hall. What they do, the teletown halls.
It's a fucking conference call with his board. Because the best part about it is every single worker that's there, like you were saying, is typing back and forth through the computers, IMing each other.
Yeah.
And every single one of us is just going, why the hell are they laughing at that? What the fuck does that even mean? Because they just make inner fucking office jokes.
Yeah, like how Bob with his sandals.
And the best part is you hear people clapping at that shit, and it's just like, oh my god, are we at a comedy club here? Can you just give me the fucking report and let me get back to my goddamn job?
Yeah.
Because all you're doing right now is making me an hour more behind on what I'm trying to do.
But Sam, it's called sharpening your axe.
Oh, fuck you. Sharpening my axe. Sharpen this. Fuck you. I'm so sick of corporate bullshit, and I'm not even in corporate.
Just raging from fucking Jump Street on this pod. You're just having a firecracker.
Oh.
So,
at least people can understand me more than Dennis Miller.
That is true. So have you heard about this ice bucket challenge they've been doing lately? The newest craze on the internet? No? You're looking at me completely...
You know I don't fucking do anything on there.
Well, maybe I thought you saw it on the news or something. Or...
I just read the news, that's it.
Yeah.
And it sucks. USA Today, get your shit right. Your fucking online bullshit has so many goddamn typos and so much bullshit that doesn't... They have sentences that repeat themselves. So you're reading something and be like... it's kind of funny. There was a fire in there. There was a fire in the... What the fuck? You know how bad that fucks somebody up that reads like I do, where you actually just... Zzz.
And you know what's sad is that is the side effect, if you will, of having to be the first to scoop.
Yep.
Nobody waits to get their shit together.
Don't you hire one editor in your entire building that could actually just read?
Oh, then you have to pay somebody. What you do is you pay these bullshit freelance writers to write their own shit, edit it, and post it themselves.
Wordproof. It's gonna highlight that sentence and be like, I don't know what this means.
But you're also talking about people that knew the way journalism is heading, and they still went to school for it. Not the brightest bulbs on the tree.
That is true.
Oh, dying media? Oh, fucking sign me up!
I'm gonna go to college to learn how to make leaded fuel.
I want to go to one of those courses I saw on TV for VCR repair.
Exactly. Specialty, but I feel there's a niche.
I was rewatching some of the VHSs I had when I taped Mad About You throughout the years. I re-saw one of those commercials. Sounds like a great fucking vocation.
Kid mad about you.
Do you like that, Paul?
That's the first time Paul Reiser has had anything said about him in years. Somewhere Paul Reiser's nose just went, what the fuck?
Yeah. I'm gonna have to tag him on this.
More Paul Reiser, please. And even he would go, what the hell, my career's dead. Why are you asking for me?
Yeah, no shit. It's almost like more Steve Gutenberg, please.
Oh, Steve, where did you go?
You were the
when
man.
we needed you the most.
Robin Williams is dead. Where's Steve Gutenberg?
Right now, I would really love to laugh about the police. Instead of more fearing them.
Oh my god, that Ferguson thing is insane.
Yeah, when they were saying he was actually walking backwards towards them with his hands interlocked on the back of his head, and some dude shot him in the fucking arm.
Yeah, there's too many conflicting reports.
Yeah. No wonder why there's fucking riots.
Well, that's the problem.
When you got a coroner that's actually saying on the police report that came out, there's no way that you would have wounds like this if that's what the case was. When you have an outside coroner who actually calls up a news station and says, your story is wrong, there is no way in hell that could ever happen.
Yeah.
Not with the report you made. That tells me that there's a cover-up going on.
Oh,
when you have some other dude that saw the newscast and just went, whoa.
Yeah, that's...
I do this shit for a daily job as well. And that is bullshit. You're giving my profession a bad name.
Oh, exactly. That's why I truly think that, maybe the powers that are inciting a race riot. This is... They've been trying for years. Look at all the movies and shit that have come out.
Miserably fail on this, though. This isn't a race riot. This is a riot against police. This is going to be something that...
But why doesn't...
If it starts, it's going to sweep like wildfire.
It has to be race-related, because how many...
That's what they're trying. I understand what you're saying. If what you're saying, the conspiracy that you're saying is true, they are attempting a race riot. What I'm saying is they're going to fail miserably on getting a race riot to start. What they're going to end up having is a riot against police. They're going to have everybody come out on this. They're not going to have just black people saying, it's white people! Because they don't give a fuck about white people. They hate police. Just like white people hate police. Just like Mexicans hate police.
Yeah, that might...
Everybody hates police, and it's going to come down to the fact where we're not going to take a fucking militant nation like this anymore.
But that's maybe how it started, but it's totally been hijacked from outside of this community of Ferguson, where all the crazy fuckers from St. Louis are coming over doing shit.
Long ago, though, man.
And it's
just been building small and small and small, and now a riot happened again.
Yeah.
I mean, think about it. LA had their riots. Then it kind of calmed down a little bit. Then it started coming back again with this whole fucking bullshit in Florida. Oh, yeah, he was a hoodie. You know, that kind of
Trayvon.
shit.
Well, because it's another case of Trayvon where they're showing...
But there, you can't even say it. It can't be a race riot against, blacks against anybody. It's blacks against the bullshit police force because they've been pushed more than we have.
But that was the problem with the Trayvon thing, was it was black versus white, even though
he's fucking Hispanic.
Yeah. Exactly. And now it's being portrayed as that is here.
White, and that the media portrays it as
exactly. That's what I'm saying. They're trying to foment a race war.
And that's why I told you, yes, they're attempting to do so, but failing miserably because not only black and white, it's everybody's getting pissed off that this shit is happening. You just wait. One fucking white kid gets shot like this, and all of a sudden...
Nobody will care.
Oh,
there won't be a riot. White people don't riot. They don't. They have other shit to do. I'm sorry. That's not racist at all. That's a fucking fact. We can't even get...
I had to laugh because it's true.
We can't even get white people to riot over millions dead with war.
Yeah.
How many white kids...
They quietly protest.
Exactly. And they obviously don't give a shit. Even the blacks don't give a shit that much about, violence. Because how many people get murdered in Chicago every day?
Yeah.
Do you see riots about that?
Yeah.
Well, is it just because the police are involved, or what? It's okay if we shoot each other. It's kind of like brothers. I can kick the shit out of my brother, but if you kick the shit out of my brother, then I'm going to kill you.
And to be fair about it, though, that's the exact same thing that they got going on with school shootings and shit.
Yeah.
If you look at how many deaths happened in just the days that school shootings happened, you're far outweighed somebody getting shot for their shoes.
Oh, 100%.
Rather than somebody getting shot in a school.
Yeah.
But the only ones that are televised are the school shootings.
Yeah.
You can get shot right after school in Compton, and you're just another fucking dead black guy in Compton who got, that must be gang related. And
you know what, you kind of touched on it a little bit, and I think that is the core issue that I agree with you 100% on, is what this boils down to. It's not black-white. It's really not even economics. It's not police versus community in the aspect of, how we're used to it. What it comes down to is militarized police versus the community. This is the police state pushing back. And I truly believe they're going to use this as an excuse to basically make martial law status quo. Create a precedent.
Well, you can kind of tell that just by how militant they've gone from their original forms. Like, if you look at the original police officers that were in the United States, they carried a billy club.
And baby blue.
Yes, baby blue. They used
docile.
Light brown.
Docile.
They used a lot of different... The light brown was the first uniform that happened, because that was in Philadelphia.
I thought it was baby blue because that's what I always remember seeing from like old timey TV shows.
No, that happened afterwards.
Yeah, that's what happened when they got color TV.
The first police officers used to wear light brown uniforms because they wanted them to look more like the people that were dressed up in suits, because everybody wore suits back then.
Yeah,
and they carried billy clubs. What really differentiated them was everybody used to wear the fedoras or the bowler caps and stuff like that back then. And they had the police cap.
Yeah.
So that's what you looked for if you needed a cop. You looked for somebody with that police cap. But they had the light brown suits because it blended in with everybody else. They were just another part of the community.
Yeah.
Made sense. And now you look at the shit, and they've got black cars. They call them dark blue uniforms.
They're black.
Yeah. Black uniforms. I mean, they're trying to look more imposing than ever before, because then you don't talk. They don't even treat you with any kind of self-dignity or anything. Like, they treat you like you're just a piece of shit.
Or a dog. Sit.
Yeah.
No. Bzz, tase you.
Exactly. I didn't tell you to get out of the car! Dude, I didn't get out of the car. What do you... I got yelled at by the last cop because I actually did open my door. And I opened my door because I noticed the seatbelt was caught in the door. So I was wearing the seatbelt that was pinched in the door on the side. And he said, "Do you know you're not wearing your seatbelt?" I opened the door and it went and flicked right up and I went, "Sorry, I got caught in the door." And he yelled at me for opening the door.
Well, they're so scared.
Yeah. And they should be. With the attitudes that they have versus everybody, the people shouldn't take that shit. You're there to do what? Protect and serve. Not treat me like a fucking criminal piece of shit.
Innocent till proven guilty.
You pulled me over for going 4 miles over the speed limit. I'm not a fucking felon that just raped your mom. What the fuck?
But they have them trained and on edge to do that. And then they watch those fucking movies like Olympus Has Fallen, and it's like, it's disaster porn.
What would happen if I was there?
Exactly. It's like disaster porn for these fucking idiots.
Yeah.
They like go home and jerk off to it like bouncers do fucking Roadhouse. That's why we're best friends.
But yeah, it's fucking...
And I'm sorry.
Man.
Goddamn, St. Cloud doesn't need a armored SWAT vehicle. Fuck that.
They will when I'm done with... Just kidding. I didn't even finish that sentence.
I'm sorry. But, and then when the stats come out and say that the SWAT team is used primarily for warrant enforcement on drug deals... That's a good use of fucking community resources. I'm sorry, but these people...
They got it because I didn't tell them I still have a pit bull.
Yeah, and these nice. And these people in Ferguson, they got to walk down the streets and have snipers literally target them with lasers in America.
Yeah.
This isn't. And now they're...
I'm not kidding you. If I lived there, I would go out after curfew and I would sit in my front lawn. And I would wait for them to come and tell me that I shouldn't be there. This is my fucking lawn. You get the fuck away from me. I pay my taxes. Why do I have to go inside my house because you told me to go inside my house? You can kiss my ass is what you can do.
Exactly. You know what the most telling...
I'll even hold my balls up so they won't... Oh, hit you. Sorry about that.
And you know what the most telling thing is as to what their true motives are, is who are they arresting and attacking primarily? Journalists. The dude from Getty Images just got arrested.
Because they don't want anybody to know what the fuck they're doing.
Exactly.
They already learned that shit when they were looking for those bombers. And they were like, no, those weren't the kids. That's why you shot up the boat 5 billion times, huh?
100%. Don't get me into the Boston bombing too.
I'm just saying, I'm starting to be more along the lines of understanding conspiracy theories just because of the fact that it almost does. Like, if you look at these,
it doesn't make sense if there isn't
not randomized things.
These things alone do not make sense. They only make sense when you put them along a narrative, and the narrative is militarized police state to enslave us all.
If you just look at them in progression,
it
almost looks like somebody making moves in chess is what it resembles to me. Because the government acts very strange in certain instances, and in other instances acts very reserved and cool and calm. So
that's the weirdest part.
In my aspect, it actually kind of looks like a progression of a chess game that's being played of, well, we're going to do this. How do you react to that?
100%.
All right, so what if we do this? And how are you going to react to that?
Basically, we're living in a PSYOP.
I mean, I'm going to say this is... I used to be one of the people that would, anytime that this place would be mentioned, I would instantly go, oh, what the fuck?
What?
Waco, Texas.
Yeah?
The aspect of, you have National Guard that are just standing around waiting to do nothing, and you've got the fucking DEA and ATF.
Yeah.
That fuck around with them with small arms fire for what? You have armored vehicles that could literally drive right through one of their walls and just walk in and say, all right, shoot as many bullets as you want because you're not going to kill us.
And then you're out of ammo and I'm going to come out and you're under arrest.
Instead, they shoot incendiary gas canisters at them.
They murdered them. Straight up.
The more and more you look at that kind of stuff and the more evidence that actually comes out of it.
Yeah. And one thing that I did come across just doing random conspiracy research was there was a lot of reports and people stating that the whole reason that they went in to murder the Branch Davidians was because there is an airport that's right next to their property, and the Branch Davidians noticed that the government was smuggling coke.
I've heard that one too.
And that's the most plausible. If you're a drug dealer and somebody finds your information,
it makes sense too, because if it was the CIA that was using it, they would never fucking do anything. They would just be like, hey, somebody's going to take care of this. I'm going to leak some information to some colleagues in different areas. CIA can't operate on sovereign land.
But the DEA...
not sovereign land. On U.S. soil. I'm sorry. Oh! One of these days I'm going to say that with a straight face. Fuck that.
But yeah, I truly believe...
The president doesn't even know what the CIA is doing, apparently, because it's so secretive. First of all, I would honestly say this. I absolutely 100% subscribe to why people hate this country. However, what we were talking about earlier of being, that's my brother.
Yeah.
I can say that. You can't. Is how I feel about it.
I see. Because
I look at it and I say, we do have our fingers in way too many fucking sugar pots right now. Way too many.
Yeah.
And what we have on the news is a fraction of what we're actually doing. If you look at the CIA's history, they've been working every single country we possibly can for as long as we can. I mean, the budget that they have for absolutely no reason, I'm pretty sure Australia's not going to attack us. So why do we spend as much money of having 2 CIA headquarters in Australia?
Yeah, you need to be everywhere.
But that's... It's not our military. They're supposed to be our counterintelligence agency.
Well, they need to get good intelligence on what those... They're an island of criminals. Those Australians. That's where they come from, remember?
It is true.
And we're just keeping them under wraps by giving them enough movies of ours to shoot.
I saw that movie with Ray Liotta where they started Australia like that. Yeah. So, it is true.
That was a good flick.
It was a good flick.
What the fuck was that called? I don't remember.
I don't know, but it's the same premise.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's Australia. England shipped their shit there. But why do we need 2 bases or 2 headquarters for the CIA in Australia? The fuck are we gonna learn there?
I think they just throw like some, stations just to have nice places to go.
Well, I'm just saying, as far as I understand, the only thing having a base in Australia would be good for would be like sneaking in on the Lord of the Rings set or something like that. Like you could have a quick ship over to New Zealand.
Well, you know what? You could extrapolate that and say most movies are being shot over there due to being less expensive, and a lot of people would say the Pentagon.
So when Anderson goes over to cover them shooting the next Lord of the Rings, he has his CIA headquarters right there.
Yeah, and a lot of people do believe, and I'm one of them, that the Department of Justice as well as the Pentagon do fund a lot of movies to basically propaganda.
I don't believe that.
Bullshit! It's proven. Look at the difference between Full Metal Jacket and Top Gun. You have almost 100% U.S. military involvement and consulting on Top Gun because it's a propaganda piece, and no government involvement on Full Metal Jacket because it's a hit piece.
See, I look at it more as the aspect of they're just completely different ideas.
But how about this then? Robert Rodriguez has been quoted as saying him and Quentin Tarantino get $20 to $30 million each movie from the government. Because Rodriguez, with his machete pictures, he's fomenting racial division.
Those are absolutely ridiculous.
Because they're racist. They're anti-white people.
I didn't get that from it. I just said they're ridiculous because they're absolutely stupid.
Yeah, so he gets that.
I like Danny Trejo. I don't know why he did that.
So that's what the people say. A lot of sources say that that's the reason why is because he foments racial division. And Quentin Tarantino, the same thing.
Shame on you, Michelle Rodriguez.
Yeah. Fucking Django Unchained.
No-eyed bitch.
Yeah, Django Unchained is like...
Oh, that was fucking racist.
Isn't that fucking white guilt to the 10th degree?
Oh, that was fucking racist. I don't get white guilt. But then again, you understand, I don't...
have guilt on most things.
Yeah, I don't feel guilty about anything. I was born just like you. I don't give a fuck if you're black. I don't give a fuck if you're white. And I didn't have you as a slave, now did I? So why would I feel bad about it? My fucking ancestors came over from fucking Germany.
Exactly.
You can kiss my dick.
Only 3% of the entire South actually owned slaves. So the people that you're upset about for being slave owners are the same assholes you're voting into office because it's the fucking bloodline that always rises to the top.
Died in the fucking war.
Exactly. So most of the white people that inhabit this land had nothing to do with slavery. Didn't own a slave, didn't condone slavery. Half of us, our ancestors, weren't even fucking on this piece of land when there was slavery.
I don't have any kind of guilt towards anything. I don't owe anybody anything, and they don't owe me anything. That's what I do feel bad for Native Americans, but I still don't feel any kind of guilt for them, and that would be the only kind of empathy
you should have.
Because I think everybody should feel bad for the Native Americans. I mean, granted, blacks, yes, they did get a bad run of being slaves and all that, but if you want to look at it that way, I mean, just about every race has had their slaves.
Exactly, and it's still...
Germanic, where I come from, our ancestors were slaves in Rome.
And it's still going on.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying.
There's little kids.
There's still slaves, whether they be sex slaves or actual slaves. I mean, and if you look in Africa, there was actual tribes that were selling other tribes as slaves. When the ships would land, they would come out and just be like, hey, we'll give you these guys.
Well, yeah, don't take us. Here's our replacements. That's that's business. That's business.
Damn straight. There's some of them that were sene.
But that's the thing, is... a lot of
but they were the fucking CEOs of the day.
Exactly. And, the same things with the Jews selling out other Jews to the Nazis.
Jews
it happens.
In Egypt.
It happens.
Were slaves for years.
People are going to save their skin.
Yep.
They don't care. When it comes down to you or me,
they were slaves for years. But everybody was a goddamn slave to the Roman people. Your people.
Well, and I'm going to say this right now. Anybody that's under the control of the Federal Reserve is a slave.
Yeah, no doubt.
You might not be able to see the chains, but they do fucking exist. Don't get that twisted.
Like Dylan said.
You got to serve somebody.
Yeah, I look at that and I just think it's kind of funny. I don't fucking care. I don't feel guilt on that level because, dude, you had a bad run of it. I'm sorry, but your ancestors are your ancestors. Mine are mine. I don't feel bad about what my great whatever fucking did either. Because I never knew the fucker.
Exactly.
What, was I going to change his mind? Am I supposed to go back in time and look at him and go, you shouldn't do that? Bad you.
Yeah.
I'm going to get shit for this 1,015 years from now.
Exactly.
Because some dude's going to be like, oh, you a slave owner? Fuck you, man. You're like,
and all I'm saying is, because if that's a possibility, you know where I'm going? Going back to the beginning and slapping that apple out of Eve's fucking mouth.
It's the bitch's fault.
Fucking hate. That's why you're cursed with the period.
It's your monthly tribute. How shitty you made us.
Come the revolution.